Hey YouTube, this is Primetime Pokemon. In this video, I'll be reviewing and then giving away the Steel Sun theme deck. This is one of two theme decks from the Guardians Rising set. The other one is Hidden Moon, and I'll be reviewing that one in the future on YouTube. So this Steel Sun theme deck, it is a Metal and Psychic type theme deck, and the featured Pokemon is Solgaleo. And the way this video is going to work is the majority of the video will be a review, and at the end of the video, as well as in the description of this video, I will state how to enter this giveaway. And if you'd like to see any other deck reviews I've done on my channel, you'll find a link in the description of this video that will lead you to that playlist. So on the back of the box here, you can see everything on the inside, the deck checklist, and then the items on the inside. I can read the summary of the theme deck. It says, Bright Light of Victory, a Pokemon of fiery power, Solgaleo. This well-tempered deck puts both metal and psychic power in your hands and tests your opponent's metal. Stay sharp with the Steel Sun theme deck. And I reviewed this one first. I prefer Solgaleo over Lunala. And the deck is already opened up, $12.99 in stores, these theme decks are. And for the most part, theme decks are good for learning how to play the TCG, not the greatest for being competitive or anything. But on the inside, you get the two-player playmat with rules, and then the damage counters and burn marker, poison marker, GX marker. You can get higher quality of these if you get an Elite Trainer box. Here is the checklist. Pokemon coin, looks like it is Solgaleo. The deck box, you can fit your 60 cards in here. Online TCG code card, and then the special foil of Solgaleo, normally a non-holo. And then the online TCG code card, give away all of the codes in my newest opening video. So I'll go through all the cards in this deck now. So first up is a 3-2-2 line of Cosmog, Cosmoem, and Solgaleo. Of course, Solgaleo, the featured Pokemon for this deck. So Cosmog, basic, psychic type Pokemon, 60 HP, and allows you to draw a card with Dusk Gathering. So it could be a good starter type Pokemon to help you get cards into your hand. So 3 of those. And then 2 Cosmoem, 90 HP, stage 1, so average HP. Teleport is its only move, and it says to switch this Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. So I would either start with Cosmog in the active Pokemon spot or evolve the entire line on the bench, getting to the Solgaleo. Metal type here, as you'll notice, both of the first 2 Pokemon in this line required colorless type energy to attack. Stage 2, Solgaleo, 160 HP. Shining Arrow and Fangs of the Sun are its 2 moves. Shining Arrow says this attack does 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. So this card could be used in a spread attack type deck if you want to attack a bench Pokemon of your opponent's. And then Fangs of the Sun, 170 damage for 3 energy cards. It says this Pokemon can't use Fangs of the Sun during your next turn. So if you use Shining Arrow one turn and Fangs of the Sun the second turn you can do 220 damage in 2 turns or 110 damage per turn. So a very powerful Pokemon to use in a deck, and I can see why Solgaleo is the featured Pokemon in this theme deck. Next up is a 2-2 line of Beldum and Metang. You could, of course, modify this deck and put either Metagross or Metagross GX into the deck. So Beldum, 60 HP, which is a good HP. Its only move, Core Beam, does 20 damage from 1 Metal Energy card. However, you must discard a Metal Energy from this Pokemon after use. So a little bit disappointing. You have to continuously add energy to keep attacking. And then Metang, 90 HP, so a solid HP for stage 1. 2 moves, Ram and Core Beam. Ram does 20 damage for 1 energy card, and then Core Beam, 80 damage for 3 energy cards. You have to discard a Metal Energy from this Pokemon when using. Core Beam is a very powerful attack. Same with Fangs of the Sun on Solgaleo. So some powerful moves so far, but I'm not a huge fan of this line in that you have to discard energy cards after attacking every time. Next up is a 2-1 line of Slowpoke and Slowbro. There's not a Slowking in this theme deck at all. Slowpoke, a good HP of 70, 2 moves. Headbutt for 1 energy card does 10 damage, and then Whimsy Tackle for 3 energy cards does 60 damage. However, it says flip a coin. If tails, this attack does nothing. So I could see how you would want to use this as a starter type Pokemon with Headbutt, but with its high retreat cost and the fact that Whimsy Tackle has the chance of doing 0 damage every turn, another card that I'm not a huge fan of in this deck so far. And then Slowbro, a good HP of 110, 2 moves on this card as well, Amnesia and Facade, and it says, choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks. That Pokemon can't use that attack during your opponent's next turn. So more of a defensive type move with Amnesia. And then Facade, 50 plus for 3 energy cards. If this Pokemon is burned or poisoned, this attack does 80 more damage. So an underpowered move there with Facade, unless you have a special condition inflicted on Slowbro. So another card I'm not really a huge fan of. I'm going to try and rate this deck at the end of the video to see what I think of it overall, but so far it's not very good. Okay, so next up are a couple of basic Pokemon, one each of Dhelmise and then Oricorio. So 120 HP on Dhelmise, the first card in the deck to have an ability. Steelworker, it says your metal Pokemon's attacks do 10 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So I can see why this is a dual type metal and psychic type deck. This ability works very well, and you can keep Dhelmise on the bench and utilize its ability. So Anchor Shot is its only move. 3 energy cards on here it requires, and it does 70 damage. It says the defending Pokemon can't retreat during your opponent's next turn. So this is an average basic Pokemon overall, just slow on the attack, but you could easily set it up on the bench, utilize its ability first, and then put it in later in the game. And then Oricorio, only 1 Oricorio card in the set. It does have an ability and a move, 90 HP, so a good HP on the card. Vital Dance says when you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench during your turn, you may search your deck for up to 2 basic energy cards, reveal them, and put them into your hand. So this is a very good ability, and you can actually use some type of trainer, maybe an ability from a different Pokemon, to continuously put this card on your bench and retreat it back to your hand, making this ability being able to be used multiple times. And then Casual Slap, 30 damage for 2 energy cards, so an average move overall. So not a bad psychic type Pokemon. Now we're getting into the colorless type Pokemon in the deck. There is a 2-2 line of Stuffle and Beware. So 70 HP, it seems like for the most part the Pokemon in this deck have above average or average HP, but its moves are not that great. So Tackle, a good starter type Pokemon now. Can attack for 1 energy card and do 10 damage, however, a high retreat cost, which is not good. And then Hammerin, I guess you could use a double colorless energy and then 1 other energy card, so really 2 energy cards for 60 damage. But really a Pokemon with only 70 HP, you don't want to have to put 3 energy cards on to attack. But it could be used as a starter type Pokemon. If you have something like a Switch Trainer, you could easily retreat that Pokemon out for free. And then Beware, 2 Beware. 130 HP, so a good HP on this card as well. Rake It In is its ability, and it says when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may draw 3 cards. So this is another ability that works only when you place this card from your hand to your bench, similar to Dhelmise's ability. And then Dangerous Blow, for 3 colorless energy cards, does 60 damage plus 60 more damage if the defending Pokemon is a basic Pokemon. That would work well with some of the EX cards out there, as well as basic GX cards. So I like Dangerous Blow quite well. Probably my favorite card outside of Solgaleo so far in this theme deck. And there's the second Beware. So next up would be a 2-1 line of Tailo and Swellow. And Tailo, 60 HP. So a good HP, 1 move, Reckless Charge, 20 damage for 1 energy card. However, it does do 10 damage to itself when attacking. So really goes with the trend of cards in this deck where good HP, potential for a good move, but it does something else besides that makes the card not as useful. And then 1 Swellow here 90 HP, 2 moves as you'll notice, both require only 1 colorless energy, so a quick attacker. Agility does 20 damage for 1 energy card. It says to flip a coin, if heads, prevent all effects of attacks, including damage, done to this Pokemon during your opponent's next turn, so a more defensive type move similar to Amnesia on Slowbro. And then Swallow Dive for 1 energy card does 40 damage plus 80 more damage if you used Agility the previous turn. So really that can do 140 damage in 2 turns or 70 damage per turn with only 1 energy card. So this card's pretty good as well. So I like both Swallow and Beware for the colorless type Pokemon. And then only 1 Castform in the deck. This is the last of the Pokemon. Moving on to trainers after this. Colorless type Pokemon, 70 HP, 2 moves. Weather Teller allows you to search your deck for up to 2 stadium cards, reveal them and put them into your hand. And then Water Pulse for 2 colorless energy cards does 30 damage and puts the defending Pokemon to sleep. So this is a decent starter Pokemon as well. So for Pokemon in this theme deck, not a huge fan of a lot of them. Some powerful attackers with Solgaleo, for example, and Beware. And then I do like some of the colorless type Pokemon here, but definitely could have a lot of improvements to make this deck a little bit better. So I'll move on to the trainer cards now. And for the most part, trainer cards in theme decks are pretty similar. There is a stadium card first that I'll show. There are 2 Altar of the Sun stadium cards, and that would work well with the Weather Teller move on Castform. Altar of the Sun. It says Fire and Metal type Pokemon have no weakness. So again, a card that benefits Metal type Pokemon. That is similar to the ability on Delmi's Steelworker. Just 1 big Melisada here. Heal 20 damage and remove a special condition from your active Pokemon. I know this trainer's been in a few of the recent theme decks out there. There's just 1 energy retrieval, and it says to put 2 basic energy cards from your discard pile into your hand. And I know some of the cards in this theme deck make you discard a metal type energy every turn, so this is a very useful trainer. May even want to include more than 1 in the deck. Then How, there's 3 of, and this you can get in full art form in Guardians Rising, but allows you to draw 3 cards. So 3 of those. And then Nest Ball, and you can get this in secret rare form in Sun and Moon. Nest Ball, it says to search your deck for basic Pokemon and put it onto your bench, then shuffle your deck afterwards. So a solid trainer card to have in a theme deck. There are 2 of these. Professor Kukui, there are also 2 of, another Sun and Moon trainer you can get in full art form. Draw 2 cards. During this turn, your Pokemon's attacks do 20 more damage, so that is very useful to increase the damage that an attack can do. And then Rescue Stretcher, there is just 1 of. And it says choose 1. Either put a Pokemon from your discard pile in your hand, or shuffle 3 Pokemon from your discard pile into your deck. So it just depends on if it's early in the game or late in the game. And then Switch, there are 2 of. Switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. Like I noted, a lot of high retreat costs on Pokemon in this deck, so Switch, a very useful trainer card. And then the last trainer would be Timer Ball, 2 of. Flip 2 coins for each head, search your deck for an evolution Pokemon, reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. Don't like that it is based on coin flips, but very important to get evolution Pokemon into your hand and allowing you to evolve your Pokemon quite quickly. So that is it for the trainers. I do like how they have incorporated some of the metal type Pokemon in this deck. That'll help it out. It also increased the attacks that some of the moves can do. So overall, a solid set of trainer cards. And then the last thing that I'll show here would be the energy cards. Theme decks usually have a lot more energy than most competitive decks will have, but there are 12 metal energy and then 8 psychic energy. Of course, theme decks are a very good way to get energy cards. Elite trainer boxes, and then the Sun and Moon series of sets. Both sets have energy cards in every single pack. So there you have it. Overall, I'm not a huge fan of this deck. I'd only give it a 2 out of 5 rating. I would say an average deck is 3 out of 5. For the most part, there's a lot of modifications that need to go into this deck. I do like Solgaleo, Beware. Slowbro is not bad, and then some of the other colorless type Pokemon. Trainers are good, And then, of course, you need energy cards. It's always a good way. Again, $12.99 in stores for these theme decks, but I'm going to give this away now. So to be eligible for this giveaway, all you have to do is subscribe to my YouTube channel, like this video, and then in the comment section of this video, say that you'd like to enter the giveaway. And then on the last day in May, May 31st, about 7 p.m. Central Time, I will be private messaging the winner. And I select the winner from the comment section of this video. I use a random number generator on all of the comments to randomly select a commenter. So for complete rules to entry, you'll find that in the description of this video. You'll also find a link there for how to check your private messages on YouTube. So there you have it. Thanks everyone for watching. As always, before you go, check out all the links in the description of this video, including links to my blog, Facebook, and Twitter pages, and stay tuned for more videos. Thank you.